And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Alaska Weather. Up first on the hazardous weather graphic, we've got a high wind warning out here for Kodiak Island for tomorrow for winds gusting to 75 miles an hour as a strong storm system moves up to just southwest of the island. Satellite imagery showing current system here, bringing wind and rain to the eastern Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula with the strongest winds and heaviest precipitation occurring over the Alaska Peninsula, where winds gusting today anywhere from 45 to 55 miles per hour with about 2/3 of an inch of precipitation falling today at Cold Bay, and then back to the west, another front coming onto the map there with pushing rain and wind into the western Aleutians. And then a big storm here southwest of the Queen Charlotte Islands, spinning up very nicely there, bringing 70 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts here from the Queen Charlottes down into the northern Vancouver Island area. That's going to track across the islands with with the heaviest wind and rain staying to the south of the Panhandle. And for the forecast for tonight, another big storm comes northward here, bringing the increasing wind and rain with storm and gale force winds spreading up over Kodiak Island and eventually up to the western North Gulf Coast, actually more likely the southern Kenai Peninsula into the Kamishak Bay area, with gusty winds here out of the east-northeast across the southwest interior, coming back around with this trough axis into the eastern Aleutians. So could see some gusts anywhere from 35 to 45 miles an hour there on Alaska Island, diminishing out toward Adak and Atka, kind of in between systems out there. And then that front bringing some rain into the far western areas. Pretty nice over the interior, as you can see, with possibly some nice clearing going on up over the northern areas with much lighter winds. But this storm tomorrow deepens considerably from 960 millibars later tonight to 948 millibars by tomorrow afternoon or during mid-afternoon hours tomorrow. And that around that center, quite an area of storm and hurricane force winds, especially here in advance of that front pushing up toward the North Gulf Coast. 60-knot winds in the forecast in those areas. Increasing wind and rain there, especially along the north coast of the Panhandle, but rain spreading across the entire area by afternoon. Staying dry over the northern interior there. As soon as you move inland, probably have some rain and snow, gusty winds over the southwest interior, but dry conditions there all the way up to the Arctic coast. Maybe a few skiffs of snow with a weak trough there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Otherwise, not too bad. This system out to the west drops off to the southeast. They're still close enough to bring some light rain in toward the central Aleutians. Then for the day on Thursday, that low tracks westward there to Togiak Bay and weakens as another system pulls up into the northeast Pacific here, pushing a front into the southern Gulf of Alaska. The warm front extending northeastward there brings rain into the North Gulf or the northern Panhandle and all along the North Gulf Coast. Tight gradient here with gale, possible storm force winds again occurring over the eastern Gulf of Alaska. Stays dry in the interior. Chance of snow, a little bit more widespread snow now for the north slope out to the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coast. And a lot of moisture here over the Bristol Bay area up into the Kuskokwim Valley and the Kuskokwim Delta areas there, but this low weakening up to 977 millibars. Still north to south flow here, pulling cold air, gusty winds. They were from 25 to 40 miles an hour from Bering Strait all the way down into the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. And then looking at the forecast for Friday, this low pulls up here, actually pulls a little farther to the east and backs in toward Kodiak Island. So another round of at least gale and possible storm force winds in advance of this front for the North Gulf Coast. And windy, wet conditions back into the Panhandle continuing up in the interior, a trough bringing some areas of light snow to the Tanana Valley area, northward there in across the Yukon Flats, and areas of light snow and snow showers covering much of the Arctic coast and North Slope. And then strong north to south flow here over the Bering Sea coming right out of the Bering Strait. So an area of snow from the Chukchi Sea right on down across the Pribilof, becoming more showery here, but still looking at north to northwest winds. Again, could gust anywhere from 35 to 55 miles an hour, with even maybe some higher gusts than that in the normally windier areas of the Alaska Peninsula. Pretty windy conditions now through the Brooks Range in the northern interior there, with a tighter gradient up in that area, and better conditions out to the west, just a weak system pushing into the far western Bering Sea. And for the lows tonight, anywhere from 10 below to 15 above for the northern interior, 5 to 15 in the central areas, and 15 to 20 here for the southwest part of the state, closer to the lower to mid-20s out along the coastline, 30s for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, near 40 for Kodiak Island, mid-teens there for the Copper River Basin, and 30s to near 40 for the Panhandle. Highs for tomorrow in the 40s to lower 50s for the southeast coast. Otherwise, south central Alaska, 35 to 45. Mid-40s Kodiak Island area with all the wind and rain coming in there, and mid-20s though for the Copper River Basin. 20s west of the Alaska Range, again closer to freezing out toward the southwest coast. And the Tanana Valley in the 20s, central interior as well. Chillier for the Arctic coast out to the north slope. Lows for Thursday morning, 5 below to 15 above there for the northern areas, and 15 to 20 here in the central part of the state, all the way down into the southwest interior. They're about to the Kuskokwim Mountains or so, and then 20s west of there to near 30 out toward the coast, in the 30s for the Pribilofs and the Aleutians, near 40 for Kodiak, staying mild, and upper 30s to upper 40s for the Panhandle. That'll be followed by highs in the mid-50s over the Prince of Wales Island area, mid-40s to the north, upper 30s to lower 40s, south central Alaska, mid-30s for the Copper River Basin, Tanana Valley with more wind there, areas rising above freezing into the mid-30s, say for Delta Junction, possibly over toward Fairbanks, but staying in the 20s farther to the north, and then teens and 20s from the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast.